In the vast sun-scorched landscape of Egypt's Valley of the Kings, a story lay buried for over 3,000 years. It's a tale not of a mighty conqueror, but of a boy king whose name would become synonymous with untold treasure and ancient mystery, Tutankhamun. For centuries, he was a mere footnote in history, a forgotten pharaoh from a turbulent era. But in 1922, everything changed. British archaeologist Howard Carter, after years of relentless searching, made a discovery that would captivate the world. A hidden staircase, a sealed doorway, and a simple yet electrifying message sent by telegram at last have made wonderful discovery. What Carter found was not just a tomb, but a time capsule. Kivi 62, as it's known, was almost perfectly intact, a stunning anomaly in a valley notorious for ancient grave robbing. Inside lay a treasure trove of over 5,000 artifacts, each one a breathtaking testament to the craftsmanship and beliefs of the 18th dynasty. Gilded chariots, intricate jewelry, elegant furniture, and statues of gods and guardians, all crammed into a series of small, unassuming chambers. It was a pharaoh's complete afterlife starter pack, preserved in stunning detail. But why was this tomb belonging to a relatively minor king so lavishly equipped and yet so well hidden? To understand that, we need to rewind a bit. Tutankhamun ascended the throne around the age of 9, in a period of immense religious upheaval. His predecessor, likely his father, was the heretic king Akhenaten. Akhenaten had turned Egypt on its head, abolishing the traditional pantheon of gods and establishing a monotheistic cult centered on a single solar deity, the Aten. This was a radical seismic shift that alienated the powerful priesthood and the general populace. The old capital was abandoned, new art styles were introduced, and the very fabric of Egyptian society was rewoven. When the young Tutankhamun, his name meaning living image of Aten, became king, the winds of change were already blowing back. Under the guidance of powerful advisors like Ai and Horemheb, the boy king reversed his father's revolution. He restored the old gods, moved the capital back to Thebes, and changed his own name to Tutankhamun, living image of Amun, signaling a complete return to orthodoxy. This was a massive undertaking for a child ruler. We see evidence of this restoration on monuments across Egypt, where his name is inscribed over the erased names from the Amarna period. He was, in effect, the great restorer, tasked with healing a fractured kingdom. But his reign was tragically short. Tutankhamun died around the age of 19, and the circumstances of his death have fueled speculation for decades. Was it a palace conspiracy? A chariot accident? An underlying illness? Early examinations of his mummy suggested a blow to the head, sparking dramatic theories of murder. However, more recent CT scans and DNA analysis have painted a different, more complex picture. We now know Tutankhamun suffered from several health issues. He had a clubfoot, requiring him to walk with a cane, over 130 of which were found in his tomb. He also had a bone disease and, crucially, contracted a severe form of malaria, which likely, in combination with his other ailments, proved fatal. The famous fracture in his skull was most likely damage caused during the mummification process or even by Carter's team during their initial examination. So, the boy king wasn't murdered. He was a frail young man who succumbed to disease. His sudden death presented a logistical problem. A grand royal tomb, which would normally take years to construct, wasn't ready. It's now widely believed that the small, four-room tomb we know as KV 62 was originally intended for a high-ranking noble, perhaps even his advisor Ai. It was hastily repurposed for Tutankhamun. This explains its modest size and unusual layout compared to other pharaonic tombs. It also explains why it was so packed with goods. They were literally stuffing a king's worth of afterlife equipment into a space not designed for it. And perhaps its humble location, overlooked and soon buried by debris from the construction of a later tomb, is what saved it from the fate of its more conspicuous neighbors. The most iconic object from the tomb, of course, is the solid gold death mask, weighing nearly 25 pounds. It is a masterpiece of ancient art, crafted from beaten gold and inlaid with semi-precious stones like lapis, lazuli, and obsidian. It depicts the idealized image of the young king as the god Osiris, ruler of the underworld. Its serene expression and perfect symmetry have become the ultimate symbol of ancient Egypt. But beyond its beauty, it served a vital magical purpose to ensure the king's spirit, or Ka, could recognize its own body in the afterlife, allowing for his rebirth. The mask was placed directly over the head of the mummy, which itself was nestled within a series of 3 magnificent coffins. The outermost 2 were made of gilded wood, but the innermost coffin was astounding. It was made of over 240 pounds of solid gold. Imagine the moment Carter and his team first lifted the lid of the second coffin and saw, not the mummy, but this gleaming golden effigy staring back at them. It's a discovery that remains unparalleled in the history of archaeology. The treasures of Tutankhamun are more than just gold and jewels. They are windows into a forgotten world. We find board games he might have played, like Senet. We see his childhood chair, worn with use. We even find a lock of his grandmother's hair tucked away in a miniature coffin, a touching personal memento. These objects humanize him, transforming him from a distant historical figure into a real person. They tell a story not just of royal power, but of life, love, and loss in the ancient world. After Tutankhamun's death, his advisor Ai briefly took the throne, followed by the general Horemheb. Horemheb was determined to erase the entire Amarna period from history, including Akhenaten, his successors, and Tutankhamun himself. He usurped many of Tutankhamun's monuments, plastering his own name over the boy king's cartouche. For 3 millennia, his plan worked. Tutankhamun was effectively deleted from the official king lists and forgotten by his own people. It's the ultimate irony. The king who was erased from history is now the most famous pharaoh of all. His obscurity was his salvation. By being forgotten, his tomb was spared, preserving a legacy that has taught us more about the daily life and funerary practices of a new kingdom pharaoh than any other single discovery. The boy king who ruled for a decade and was written out of the records has achieved a kind of immortality his grander predecessors could only dream of. His story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest legacies are the ones found buried, waiting silently in the dark to be rediscovered. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. If you found this story as fascinating as we do, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more explorations into the mysteries of the past. We'll see you on the next adventure.